and welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up. I'm Bianca Miller-Cole, and today we're focusing in on ad campaigns, right? Now, the advertising world is a very large one. There's lots of places you can advertise, lots of places you can pay to advertise, and it's important you think about how much you want to spend on advertising and your return on investment. Now, as you know, I'm launching my skincare brand, Hian Skin by Bianca Miller London, and I am very conscious of what they call the marketing rule of 7. Now, the marketing rule of 7, I'm gonna read the definition to you as per illustrated by the internet, okay? And it says, this is where the marketing rule of 7 comes to play. The marketing rule of 7 states that a potential customer must see a message at least 7 times before they are provoked to take action. Now, this marketing rule of 7 has been in place since the 1930s, and I think it's still relevant today. 7 times before your customer takes action. And I know that's maybe a little bit of a hard pill to swallow. You're thinking of all the times you've had to post and share across various different social media tools and tell your friends and WhatsApp and ask your friends to share it, and you hope that they will, but sometimes they don't. You know how this goes, right? Cool. Well, of course, you might want to think beyond that circle. Now, you can only rely on your friends and your followers so much. And of course, they're a great basis and foundation for interaction and for purchasing. But you want to think about, how do I grow the brand outside of those friends and followers? How do I get more people who might not be aware of who I am or who the brand is to have that awareness? Now, of course, advertising is a very big part of that. And now we have a lot of control at our fingertips, okay? We've got social media ad campaigns, we've got Google ad campaigns, and both of them are very important in engaging your audience. Now, I am not an ad expert. I'll make that very clear. I'm not an ad expert. I have, in my last 10 years as an entrepreneur, paid people to do ad campaigns for me. And I do that because I don't think you can be an expert in absolutely everything, but I understand the foundations of advertising. But also, as a customer, I'm very aware of what it takes for me to make a buying decision. I know the importance of being able to illustrate the pain point or the problem that your product provides a solution for. And I think that's so important in communicating. Always think about yourself as a customer. What would you want to see? What would make you want to buy? But also take great advice from experts and from your customers to see what made them make a buying decision. So I decided I needed to engage an expert to help me with running my ad campaign. Now, I'm running 2 campaigns. I'm running a campaign for Google and I'm running a campaign for social media. So I'll look at both of those campaigns individually for you and talk about some of the conversations I've had to have and the journey that I'm on. Now, I'll be clear, the advertising campaign has just started. We're a week in, so I can't give you any results. I can't tell you how it's going. I can only share with you the conversations that I'm having at this present moment with those experts to help me on this journey to creating an advertising campaign that works. We want to have a really good ROAS. ROAS stands for return on advertising spend. You want to make sure that your return is good, your return on investment is working for you, and you're getting to the right people. Now, typically, when you speak to anyone in the advertising world, they'll say to you that they need to do an awareness campaign first and then a buying campaign. So the awareness campaign, it does what it says on the tin, right? So you're creating a campaign that makes your customers aware. So first of all, you're kind of reaching out to a variety of different people and it's just building awareness. Then you drill in the people who clicked, the people who liked it. You now want to make sure they're seeing your brand again and again, right? That's where, the cookies come into play. That's where the tracking comes into play, because you want to see that a customer who has engaged you the first time sees it again. Again, marketing rule of 7. You might well need that customer to see the brand 7 times before they make a buying decision. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about that as you're building the campaign. So I decided to work with Digital Dasher. Now I'm going to read for you his profile. So Mason, who is known as the Digital Dasher on Fiverr, he is a ad campaign expert. So according to his profile, since 2015, he's helped hundreds of businesses scale and outwork their competitors using PPC advertising. That's pay per click. That's now called AdWords on Google. But either way, you understand, paying per click. Every time someone clicks, you're paying for it and you're hoping they're going to make a purchasing decision. He's worked with clients across a variety of industries, and his strategy is always the same. Listen to your goals, understand your business, genuinely care about your success. The result is in an effective plan that minimizes risk and achieves the best possible return on investment. If you're ready for rapid growth and to get ahead of your competition, let's talk. So I was like, yep, let's talk. So I spoke to Mason and he understood my goals for the brand, and he has worked with similar skincare brands and hair care brands who have wanted to get their brand out in front of potential customers. Now, the thing about launching a brand new brand is it's not easy. It's not easy to get people to make a buying decision on something that hasn't had lots of reviews already. So when Mason built the campaign, he's really thinking about the keywords, the problems, and so on. And we've gone through what they call A/B testing. So you split test your advertising campaign, the captions and so on, to see which type of copy and what images works for that customer. Now, Mason said to me, we need to work on a few different ways of engaging. So YouTube ads, but also the Google ads that show up when people type something into Google. So the way that advertising works in Google is a customer has a problem and they type it in. So for example, my customer might type in products for hyperpigmentation, or they might say products for anti-aging. I want to ensure that my brand comes up for those searches. So for those of you who've been at home, you've Googled something before, you'll know that when you type something in, what comes up at the top, the first three, is typically ads, right? What comes beneath is organic. So of course, from a previous video, I mentioned the importance of search engine optimization. So SEO is really important because the SEO will come beneath the ads. The SEO is what we use to come up for the right keywords, and so you're there organically. Now that's a process, but it is an important part of your strategy. You don't want to be necessarily paying for ads forever. You want to come up in both ways, right? So of course, I'm working on my search engine optimization to make sure I'm found for the right keywords beneath the ads, but I also want to be seen in the ads. I want to be seen in the Google shopping area, Google merchant. I want to be seen on the top of Google and so on. So I'm working with Mason to make sure that we are seen in the right places. But of course, as I say, one of the hurdles that I know we're coming across right now is the brand is just launched. I'm now competing in an already competitive skincare market with brands who have hundreds or thousands of reviews. We have a handful of reviews. Now that's a problem. Not necessarily. We have a handful of reviews, not because we've got a handful of customers, but because the statistics are something like 0.8%, 0.08%, I think it was, of men do reviews, and 0.1% of women. So we're contending with a scenario which means that if someone's really happy, they don't necessarily review it. Okay, I know, and this has not happened to me, but I know when people are not happy, that's when they do reviews. Okay, so just saying this to you now, if you're the type of person who buys something and likes it, leave them a review. It really helps businesses. Anyway, so I'm competing in an already competitive market without having lots of reviews. So we're having to work against that and have some really good pictures, really good user-generated content, UGC, from influencers and customers who have tried the product to make sure that we stand out. And that is a journey. So at the moment, we're going through that awareness campaign of building the awareness of the brand, working through the keywords, working on the copy, and that sort of thing takes time, and then seeing what the click-through rate is. Now, the way that advertising works is if someone clicks, then you pay. You're essentially saying to Google, I want you to show my brand or showcase my brand, and I'm willing to pay £1 for that click, for example. So every time someone clicks, you are paying £1 for them clicking. Now, the hope is that you've paid £1, but they then go and buy a product. So they then go and buy, let's say the wash, and that's $15.99. So you have a $14.99 profit. Obviously, then you take out the cost of the product and so on, but $14.99. So that for £1 is $14.99. If that happens, fantastic. Even better, if they pay you £1 and they buy the whole set, great. Then you'll continue to keep spending with Google because it's worth it, right? So you have to think, what is my investment? What's my return on investment? So at the moment, I'm working with Mason to create this advertising campaign to make sure the products are found on Google and to make sure that we have a campaign that works and is engaging our potential consumers. So on the other side of the coin, I'm looking at social media ad campaigns. So I'm working with MGX Media to create a social media ad campaign that targets people on Instagram, Facebook, but also on TikTok. Now, it has been said, and I've heard the buzz in the streets, entrepreneurial streets, that TikTok performs really well right now for ads. Okay, so in comparison to the cost of advertising on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, apparently TikTok is more competitive. They're a little bit cheaper because they're a newer brand, newer product, but also subject to who you're targeting, apparently it works really well. So for example, if you're targeting women that are 35 plus, for example, they are not the demographic that most people are targeting on TikTok. So therefore you can get a better return on investment, better return on ad spend, so better ROAS. So I'm speaking with my social media marketing team to create an A/B test campaign on TikTok, but also on Instagram and Facebook. Now, Instagram and Facebook are tried and tested. We all know it works. And so we're allocating a budget for that platform, so that when someone sees our ad campaign, of course, there's 7 times potentially for them to see it before they take action, but they are seeing lots of different versions of our ads so we can see what works. Is it the videos? Is it the testimonials? Is it pictures of the product illustrating the solution that it provides and so on? So that is what we're working on at the moment. It's important for you to think about what budget do you want to allocate to those two advertising avenues. So the Google ads and of course the social media ads. So you can really think about how you're going to utilize your money to get the best possible output. Now, I think it's important to look at what other brands have done well. So if you've seen a brand campaign you like the look of, you might want to emulate some of what they do. I didn't say copy, I said emulate. So you might want to look at what they do and try and do it better or do something similar if you think it's working. And I've been spending lots of time on Instagram. Maybe that's my excuse to be on Instagram. But I've spent lots of time on Instagram looking at ads. And now once you know how this works, right? If you click on one ad or you save one ad, you then see the rest. So now I'm being targeted by lots of skincare brands. And I'm not clicking on their ad because I don't want them to pay £1 every time I click, right? But I'm looking at their ads, I'm looking at what they're doing. And that is helping me to curate the type of content that I want for my consumer. Now, as I said, I'm not an ad expert. I absolutely take advice from the professionals, but I also know from a customer perspective what I'd be looking for. And it's for us as founders and as entrepreneurs to steer those experts in the right direction because you know your brand really well. So that is the journey I'm going on right now, building my ad campaign and helping the brand to be seen by more people. So I now want to share with you the checklist. Okay, so number 1 on the checklist is to really think about the keywords. What keywords will resonate with your audience? You want to think about the problem that your product solves for them. So for me, for Hian Skin, I know that it helps with hyperpigmentation, rosacea, anti-aging. It helps to plump the skin, refine the skin, make it feel like it's fed with all the goodness that's in there. I know all of those things. And so I want to think about the keywords that I want to be targeting that are going to help my consumers to make that buying decision. So that's really important. So I want you to think about the keywords that you will need to be targeting or the problems that your product solves. Think about it from a customer perspective. Number 2, think about the audience that you want to target. So who is in need of your products? Now you can segment the market. You can be really specific with who you're targeting. So you can say, okay, I want women between the age of X and X, or I want men at this particular age demographic. I want them to be in the following locations and so on. You can be really specific about the market you want to be attracting. So do that. Think about who would buy your product, who's most likely, who's bought it so far, and utilize that to think about how you utilize your spend. If you don't have an endless budget, which I don't, I have to be really specific about who I'm targeting and how much I'm willing to spend per day. And of course, at the beginning of the journey, you might only have a small spend per day. But as soon as you start seeing results, maybe you can increase that spend. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's about getting the product out there for more people to see. Number 3 is about that budget. So allocate your budget, be prescriptive about how much you're going to spend. Now, I know from speaking to my 2 teams on the social media side, they've asked for £12 per day as the initial spend as we do the warm-up campaign and the awareness-driven campaign. And I know that on the Google side, he's asked for, I think it's £5 or £10 per day, right? So you might not be able to afford that, or maybe that works for you, but either way, you want to start with an initial budget that's going to help you on that journey to building that brand. Now, the final element, or maybe, no, let's see, maybe that's number 4. I might go with a 5th. Number 4 is to review the progress. So make sure you have regular meetings with the team to review the progress. What's working, what's not? What do we need to change? How do we need to allocate? What sort of assets do we need to create? So one of the things that's really important actually is creating lots of different assets. So whether that's user-generated content or whether that's pictures of the product, highlighting the solutions that it provides and so on, you'll need more assets. So go through that reviewing process and ask them, which ones are working well in your A/B testing? Which ones are not working so well? So you can make more. You don't want people to see the exact same ads on a regular basis. You want some variation, some variety. So get that review underway. And number 5, I guess, would be to find the right expert to support you. I'm a big believer in delegating where you don't have that expertise. You could spend a lot of time and money trying to learn a new skill in the ad world and not really know what you're doing. And it is quite specific. So find the right person, go onto Fiverr, find someone that you think will work well with you and understands the market you're trying to pursue and is able to create a really good ad campaign for you. So that is it. We've come to the end of this discussion on how to build a brilliant ad campaign that's going to help you to build your brand from the ground up. Now, you know I'm super excited about this brand. And I know it's a journey. I have massive ambition for the brand, but along the journey, there will be ups and downs. Things will go right, things will go wrong. And the ad world is one of those places where you do have to test the market. So make sure you get the right experts on board to help you on that journey. And I will see you next time when we talk about the next step in building this brand from the ground up.